God be the glory for the great things he's done. To God be the glory for the great things he's done. To somebody gonna get it in a minute. To God, I didn't say to Allah, I didn't say to Buddha, I said to God be the glory for the great thing he has done. Tell folk all the time, because you show up for church, don't think you did God some great favor. God did you one when he woke you up this morning, clothed you in your right mind, gave you the activities of your limbs, and some of you still need him to say thank you. God has been so better than we rightfully deserve. I thank God for his mercy, because a lot of us wouldn't be here if it wasn't for his mercy. Yeah, I know some of y'all been holy all your life, and you already got your 6 wings. You flying around Huntsville somewhere. For us who've messed up, who God has given us another chance. Tell folk talking about the God, he's a God of a second chance. No, That's not true because I ran out of second chance a long time ago. But I'm glad he's a God of another chance. And what I love about him that when you do mess up and you ask him to forgive you, he doesn't remind you of the last time you messed up. I hear folks still won't let go of something that happened 30 years ago. And in third grade and they ain't let that go yet. And that happened 40 years ago and they still holding on to it. Let it go. We got to learn how to let stuff go. If you plan on making it into heaven, you got to let stuff go. I'm getting ready to get into my message, but Pastor Rainey used to think, when folk used to think I had to remind God, Lord, ain't you going to get them? Then you see what they did. I don't do that anymore, Eunice. I just pray, love myself, and I pray for those despitefully that misuse me. That's why I pray for the person at 1660 Pennsylvania Avenue, that he might be saved. When a man says he's done more for Christianity than Jesus Christ himself, he done stepped in it and he done messed up. I wonder, when did you die for Christianity? You've done more than Christ. When did you die? And get up. When did you do that? You have to be careful what you say. But one thing I've learned about God, he said, vengeance is mine. Yeah, I know the president trying to get folk who told the truth. But the last time I read my Bible, the Lord said, vengeance is mine. That means that Melvin can't get into getting back at somebody. The Lord said, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I'll repay. It ain't for you to get back at your enemies. The Lord say, vengeance is mine. Don't belong to nobody else but me. And God has a way of making your enemies your footstools. Some same folk who mistreated you, God has a way of making them have to come back by you. You reap what you sow. To my good friend and brother, Pastor Rainey, who has been a blessing over the years. Pastor Rainey, I was thinking about Pastor Cox, how Pastor John Rickett Cox, my uncle, the late Rickett Cox, both of us, one would do the spring revival and one would do the fall revival at Indian Creek. So Indian Creek holds a very special place in my heart to Pastor Rainey and his wife, Gloria. We're grateful to the friendship that we've had over the years. We thank God for the blessing they've been to us. We're grateful for Sister Robertson being able to travel up with us this morning to be with you and celebrate with you. Good to see my good friend, Sister Denise, and her husband. Wave your hand, Denise. I've been knowing Denise since I was in the military back in 1971. It's some things about military friends that have lasting friendships. Many years ago, I preached at her church in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, where I met my wife. And we're grateful, and my cousin April Thomas is here. And one of my sons, Pastor Givens, is present also. You've already heard him recently. He's related to the pastor. We thank God for these preachers and pastors that are here. Pray for us, and we will continue to pray for you. There is a word from the Lord, from the book of Job. It's Jobs, it's the book of Job. Yeah, I like laughing. Deliver me from folk who can't laugh in church. Because I tell folk God does have a sense of humor. You don't believe it? Look in the mirror. Somebody get at the stop sign. In the book of Job, the 23rd chapter, verses 8, 9, and 10. Job, the 23rd chapter, verses 8, 9, and 10, you'll find these words written within. The whole chapter is good reading. Behold, I go forward, but he's not there, and backwards, but I cannot perceive him. On the left hand where he doth work, but I cannot behold him. He hideth himself on the right hand, that I cannot see him. Should have shouted right there. But he knoweth the way that I take. When he has tried me, I shall come forth. as gold. May be seated. If there's somebody sitting beside you or sitting behind you, tell them I'm better, not bitter. Now look at somebody on the other side and tell them I'm better, not bitter. That's our subject for today. I'm better, not bitter. I meet young people and adults that are bitter and mad and upset with a lot of things. And some people are never happy. They mad every time you talk to them. They always, oh, y'all know some folk like that. I thought that was just in Fairfield. Every time you say, they always negative. Ain't ever got nothing good to say. Do you know anybody like that? I guess you do. We can all agree that Job went through a severe period of trial. Job encountered more in a day than many of us in a lifetime. As a pastor, I've seen people go through far less than Job did, but because of their experience, they became harsh and pessimistic and negative and just plain bitter. You miss the beauty of a rose, fearing the danger of the thorns. Some life situations leave us bitter, but Job was an exception. He goes through more in a few hours than most of us go through. His friend Eliphaz had accused him wrongly, and he, by his own confession, said that his complaint is bitter. This same Job wants to find God and test his case. Job gives us inspiration because he tells his friend that I will come out better and not bitter. I'm coming out like I will be a better person when this thing is over and than when it began. It would be wonderful if we all could face life tragedy like this. In the midst of destruction and financial loss and grief and sickness and pain, human disappointment, false accusation, Job still says, I'm coming out better, not bitter. That's awesome, y'all. Job example says to us, you see me today down today. You see me at them lows. You see me broken and burdened, but it's not over yet. I shall come forth. New English translation says, I will come forth. Job said assuredly, this was not his stopping point. In other words, keep watching me. And when my trial is over, you're going to see me better. I'm coming out of this situation. Trouble don't last always. I won't be weeping and wailing always. I won't be sick and suffering always. I won't be struggling and straining always. I won't be down and depressed always. I won't be abused and accused always. I won't be bitter always. I will come forth. And when I come forth, not if I come forth, I will be like gold. I will not whine. I will not complain. I will not have a pity party about my situation. I'm not going to blame everybody else for the shape I'm in. You know folk like that. It's always everybody else's fault. It ain't never your fault. Be nasty. I ain't going to be resentful. I'm not going to be hard to get along with. I ain't going to be mean. I ain't going to be spiteful. I ain't going to be slanderous. I'm going to get better. I'm going to be better when it's all over. I will shine. I will rise again. We should all believe and adapt this attitude. There would be more peace in our churches, more joy in our homes, better fellowship with our families and friends, more contentment in individuals. If we would just approach each trial as a test that will send you to a higher level, not to destroy you, but distinguish you. I'm better, not bitter. This trial is not to break you, but to make you. Not to bruise you, but to bless you. Not to make you bitter, but to make you better. Listen to this testimony from a man in the ashes. It revealed that Job knew something that every believer should know. Job is operating by a principle that would not be written for 100 years. Job says he knoweth, verse 10, God, he knoweth the way I take it. It would take some time when David would write Psalm 37, and the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Job had been on a spiritual journey. He said, oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might even come to his seat. Job said, I go forward, but he ain't there. I go backwards. I can't perceive him. On the left hand, where he does work, but I can't behold him. He hided himself on the right hand that I can't see him. Job had gone on a spiritual journey searching for God, and a God that he couldn't find. The text is worded to accommodate the understanding of a man. But the meaning is Job went to places spiritually that he had communed with God. He tried to find God any way he could, but he met with failure. But Job is confident in the fact that God has perfect knowledge, and God knew it because he ordered it. Yes, there are times when we go through days and nights of darkness. Many times we give the credit to the devil, but the Bible is true. If the Bible is true on sunshiny days, it's also true on rainy days. If the word of God is good on prosperous days, it's also good on days of need. God ordered our steps. Proverbs says, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. We say that God is directing our path when we are in the period of prosperity. We must give God glory for directing our steps at all times. Job knew that he had acknowledged God in all his ways. Job knew that he was a good man. Job knew that his steps were ordered and his path was directed. Listen to this man in the ashes as he proclaims, he knoweth the way that I take. Job does not know himself, but he has every confidence that God knew. In short, Job did not know what God was doing to him. Neither did he know why the Lord was doing it. But he trusted in the fact that whatever it was, whenever it was, God knew it, and God was still in control. That applies to your life now. That God, no matter what you're dealing with, what you're going through, God is still in control. Even though Job couldn't find the Lord knew where to find Job. How inspiring it would be that if we all had the conviction of the man in the ashes. One of the things that leaps from between the lines and grips my attention was what Job did not say. Job never gave Satan any credit for what happened in his life. Let me say that again. Job, you know, every time something go wrong, y'all always, want to blame, the devil. Job, that's a lie. Job never gave Satan any credit for what happened in his life. He gives God the glory. We say we know the risen Christ, the one who has all power in his hand. We who are saved by grace, sealed by the Spirit, Spirit-filled, protected by the power of an almighty God. By our words, make our God look like a 98-pound weakling and the devil look like a heavyweight champion. We sit around and say the devil is busy. Satan has come and attacked on me. The enemy is loose. We say all kind of things that empower Satan. But the man in the ashes, sick and broken, childless, does not give any credit to the Satan for the awful thing that happened in his life. He didn't say that Satan took my disposition. He didn't say that Satan took my children. He didn't call his wife, and he didn't call his children his friends demon-possessed. With all that was personal and financially and socially he encountered, he still says that he knows the way that I take. Job knew that his steps were ordered by God. Job sent me by to tell you I'm better, not bitter. Indian Creek, sometimes the Lord has to direct our path and order our steps in some dangerous places. Sometimes he directs our path through sickness and pain. And every day is not a day of ease and pleasure. But just because good things are not happening doesn't mean that the devil is loose in your life. God is ordering your steps. His directions sometimes go through instead of around. David say, though I go through. Some of y'all done messed out because y'all done camped out. He ain't tell you to camp out in the valley. He told you to go through the valley. Job's friends were concerned that God was punishing Job because of some secret, some hidden sin. This view is not just unique for Eliphaz. Many people today share the same conviction. Even the disciples of Christ over there in John 9, when they saw a man who was blind from birth, he says, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he were born blind? And the question reflects the idea that the man suffering is punishment for some sin, that even expand the idea of generation, imputation of sin, and prenatal sin. If the man was born blind and his suffering was punishment for sin, then wouldn't he have had to sin while still? I'll give you a chance to think about that. Strange. But there are people who believe that all suffering is punishment for sin. Eliphaz is operating on this flawed but logical principle. Job was supposedly suffering because of punishment. It is very unfair when people place themselves in the position of divine district attorney. It's very unfair when people try to prove others guilty based on circumstantial evidence. We have no right to investigate into another person's problem. That's not our business. There are sufficient problems in our own life. You need to sweep around your own front door before you try sweeping around mine. Get the log out your eye before you try to get the toothpick out of my eye. Have mercy, Lord. You ought to you got enough of your own business than to try to bind in somebody else's fire. I try to give them a quarter and say, get you some business. Help me, somebody. It's unfair, but it happens. Whenever there is suffering, there is an investigation as to why the person is suffering and to what end. When or if the reason is discovered does not change the situation or the outcome, is an exercise in futility. However, it happened to Job, and it will happen to us. When it seemed how Job handled the situation, hopefully we will become better equipped to deal with our situation. Job's attitude was, I'm not being punished, I'm being proved. Job's attitude was, this is not a tribulation. This is a test. Proving is not punishment. The statement of Job reflects a positive attitude. To Job, it's a test and a proving. He says, when he has tried me. New Testament says, when he has tested me. In other words, when the test is over, the man in the ashes inspires us by saying that what he's going through is not a permanent position, but a temporary test. Tests don't last always. Tests prove one's faith. Job's statement shows us that tests eventually come to an end. He said, when the storm is over, not if, but when he has tried me, when the test is in it, when the sickness is here, when the mountain is climbed, when the rumors are in it, when there too must pass, then I shall come forth as gold. Testing doesn't last always. Proving isn't punishment. There are times when we go through situations that God is redefining to make us like pure gold. I got to get out of here. When testing time is over, you should be better and not bitter. If you are the right person and a right spirit of living, God inside of you, the testing of your trials will only make you stronger. Paul said that tribulations worketh patience, and patience worketh experience, and experience worketh hope. Peter said, when the fiery trials are upon you, the Spirit of God and the glory rest upon you. James say, count it all joy when you go through diverse temptations. These men agree with Job because they know the truth. Struggles and trials and tribulations and trouble or burdens only make us better and not bitter. When you come through the fire, you will be purified. Therefore, the man in the ashes stopped by Indian Creek to give us some inspiration. He tells us that God knows the way that I take, and when he's tried me, I shall come forth as pure gold. Remember the word say, he that hath begun a good work in you shall perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. He will not let you go until you become all that God would have you to be. Trouble makes you better. The guarantee is in the word. John said, behold, now are we sons of God, but it does not yet appear what she shall be. When he shall appear, we shall be just like him, and we will see him as he is. I'm better, not bitter. How is it, Reverend, that you're better and not bitter? I'm glad that you as Jesus. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten. Whosoever believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. I'm glad Jesus came down 42 generations, healed the sick, raised the dead, opened blinded eyes, unstopped deaf ears. But one Friday evening, they hung him high and stretched him wide. After a while, and by, he locked his head in the lock of his shoulder and died. There were 4 ways that Jesus died. He died naturally. He didn't go in no coma. He didn't go in no trance. Brain waves stopped. Blood stopped running in his veins. Then he died unnaturally because he was holy, and it ain't natural for a holy thing to die. Then he died pre-told naturally. He died before he was born, and you never heard of somebody dying before they were born. But in the book of Revelation, there was a lamb under the altar of God, slain before the foundation of the world. Then he died supernaturally. No man took his life. He gave it freely. He died. But I'm glad that's not how the story ends. Took him down, put him in a borrowed tomb. All Friday night, he stayed there. All Saturday night, he stayed there. But early Sunday morning, before the dogs start barking, before the rooster start crowing, Sunday morning, Jesus, that barefooted Nazarene boy, my walking cane, my leaning post, my company keeper in a lonely hour, my 4-day traveler, my midnight rider, stepped out the grave, declared to the world, all power, hey, all power in my hand. Do you know him? Have you tried him? Ain't the Lord all right? Ain't the Lord all right? I know he's all right. I know he's all right. I got to get out of here. I want to encourage you in the creep. Keep your hand in God's hand. Put the other hand in the winding chain. Rub your nose against the grindstone and keep a heaven in your view. 2 wings gonna bear my feet, wings gonna bear my face, and some glad morning when this life is over, I'm gonna fly away in the morning, in the morning, in the morning. I'm better, not bitter. I'm better, not bitter. Reverend, why are you better and not bitter? 3 reasons I'm better and not bitter. He woke me up this morning. He woke me up this morning. He woke me up this morning. That's why I'm better and not bitter. Because he could have left me sleeping Other folk went to bed last night just like we did. They didn't get up this morning. So you ought to be glad. You ought to be better and not bitter. It might be somebody here today that don't want to be bitter anymore. We'd like to extend you the invitation to be a part of God's family. There are benefits in the family. See, you're covered when you're in the family. But you're in your outside, and folks talking about, I ran and found the Lord. That's a lie. You can't find somebody who ain't ever been lost. Jesus said, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice, come by letter, candidate for baptism, Christian experience, in my veins, while the blood is running warm in my veins. You ought to do it now because it is getting late in the evening and the sun going down. And everybody talking about heaven ain't going there. Here folks talking about I'm going to heaven anyhow. No, you ain't, baby. Heaven is a prepared place for prepared people. Jesus said, I go away to prepare a place for you. And if I go away, he said, I'll come again, because he's not a man that he should lie. I'm going to come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. Mom and daddy can't decide for you. Your husband and wife can't decide for you. Your girlfriend and your boyfriend can't make this decision for you. He said, the day you hear my voice, the devil is a lie. Stop listening to him. The devil just wants some company in hell with him. He don't want to be in hell by himself. The devil is a liar. And everything come out of his mouth is a lie. But Jesus wants to save you. Will there be one that'll step out on faith and trust God? Will you come? Will you come?
Amen. Won't you give God a hand for the word? Amen. I'm better and not bitter. Aren't you glad that tests don't